Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations. I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Wayland. So, buddy, has it been as hot there as it has been here?
Worse, because it's humid, too. There were a few days where I walked outside, and I was like, I'm breathing pure moisture. Like, it's so hard to breathe out here some days.
Well, and also that's like you're just instantly sweating too.
Yes.
With how humid it is.
Yesterday we worked on the camper. So Haley and I bought a camper. We love it. It's awesome. It has an air conditioner, which is amazing. But we wanted to repaint it. We wanted to change out the curtains, put in different curtains. We wanted to fix a couple of cosmetic things, and so we were working on it yesterday. We worked on it for 4.5, 5 hours outside, and I mean, my shirt was drenched. I was drenched, and that happened in the first hour. It was crazy. I mean, it's awful. It's so hot.
We're going to Austin in a little bit, and that's what Mom keeps telling us, like, at least it's not humid. And I'm like, but at this point I'd rather it be humid.
Nope.
The dry heat.
No, you wouldn't. I promise, because it's still just as hot.
No, I mean, that's why I'll probably be saying that, but like right now, dry heat, bro, like,
I mean, dry heat's a killer, man. It's like being in an oven. I get it, but
yeah,
here it's like okay. It's like if someone were to, I've seen this done in movies, they'll put like sugar in boiling water and throw it at someone so it sticks to them. That's what it's like.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on just a second. My mom's calling me. You can keep this in. I'm going to tell her we're recording.
Okay.
Hey, Mama, we're recording the podcast right now. No, that's okay. You're on it. That's too late. It's too late. You're already on it. So when you watch this, you're going to see that you called.
It's almost like it's in real time.
Okay. Bye, Ma. She says she loves you, Rain.
I was just about to say, like, love you too, Mom.
Yeah. She said it. She said that she loves you. Yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah. Well, because she's pretty much my mother.
I have such a hard time leaving people hanging on the phone. That's why I answer it all the time. I don't know. I feel like if I don't answer it, like, they'll be mad at me. I don't know.
So let me tell you something, and then we can tell people where we were for the last week. If I'm in a really bad mood, I don't mind not answering phone calls.
Sure.
Like today, I was slammed with customers. I was trying to help some of my reps with stuff. And I'm not going to name names just in case they listen, which I don't think they do. But one of the other managers called me and I was like, nope, I'm not answering right now. No, this is priority.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I called them back later, but I was just like, nope, I'm not answering right now.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, would you like to tell them where we were for a week?
Sure. I went camping last weekend, and that's why we had to miss. I just didn't have time.
Well, and it's good to just have a reset. I felt like we were going really hard this season. I think to make up for last season that we took so much time in between episodes.
We've been going fast. Yeah. We haven't. That was the first one we've missed. I'm going camping again, by the way, this weekend. I'm going to try not to miss. While I'll still see what I can do.
Well, depending on our trip in Austin, we may have to miss that one. Depending.
Oh boy. Okay.
So I gave you
for future reference, maybe, or for some sort of warning that we might be taking some more breaks. Just because it's the summer, we have stuff to do, places to go. But before we get started with the show, I want to get out a few recommendations
Yes.
for these
Give us
peeps.
those recommendations.
So, number one, I literally just finished it maybe 30 minutes ago. Evil Dead Rise. It's good. So check out Evil Dead Rise, man. That shit is crazy. Bloody,
Yeah,
gross, scary. Yeah.
I want to see it because I heard they essentially took the 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 soft remake Evil Dead and just upped the ante.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've heard this is supposed to be not only a direct sequel to that, but it's supposed to tie into the rest of the universe as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, see if you
I
can
need
catch some of the. I mean, they make references to things in the Evil Dead universe, but they also make some really cool references to Kubrick. So be on the lookout for
okay.
those references. Another recommendation: I am 3.5 seasons in to Succession. I've jumped on that bandwagon a little too late, and it's good. It's really good. It took
Well,
me a
that's what
few
I've heard.
episodes. It takes a few episodes to get in, at least for me. It took a few episodes for me to go, okay, this is great. You know,
Yeah, that's what I've heard, man. Mainly from watching all of Kieran Culkin in interviews talking about his character.
he's great. He's my
I'm
favorite
like,
character for sure, and
I'm
that's
like, I'm
probably
like
not
that.
a good thing.
Yeah, I'm like, because I've heard that his character's not a good person,
No
and
one is a good person. Yeah.
all right, then what's your third one, buddy?
My third one, and this is the most important, okay, which is why I saved it for last so people can pay attention. If you have a Hulu subscription, please, for the love of God, watch The Bear on Hulu. I just finished season 2 last week. Holy Jesus, this show is incredible. Please watch The Bear. It's too good to miss.
Yeah, I want to, like we were talking about off mic. I want to see it. It's been on my watch list since I saw the first trailer, and I'm like, let's go, Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
But I have to be in a certain mood, especially now that I know it's more drama than comedy.
Yes.
Even though the trailer makes it seem like it's going to be more comedy than drama.
Mm.
So I have to be in a certain mood for that.
Mhm.
And then season 2 just dropped, and
Yeah.
like I was saying off mic, my buddy Quentin's been all over me, and I finally told him, like, dude, the more you keep telling me to watch it, the more I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. And that I completely understand. But I'm telling you, man, like, it's truly good, truly great. It's amazing. I don't know. It's weird to put it in, like, I was trying to think of, like, why do I love it so much? Why is it so good? It combines a lot of things that I love. It combines very fast dialogue, which I love, right? As a fan of
Mhm.
Sorkin, right? It has that.
Yeah.
It has high stress environments with that very quick, very fast dialogue. It has people being very good at what they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing the thing that they're very good at, right?
Right.
In this case, it'd be cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows really what it takes to be good. I wish, like, I could find, like, if anyone knows if, like, famous chefs have watched the show and what they think, like, people who have actually been in the industry, because I want to know if that really is truly what it takes to be good at it and what it takes to run a restaurant, because if so, I could never in a million years. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Gordon Ramsay had that movie Burn, or whatever, with Bradley
With
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, yeah.
Yeah, that he executive produced, and supposedly claims, like, yeah, this is exactly what I went through.
I
But
wonder if that's any good.
I've
I've
heard it's not.
seen clips of it, maybe just one specifically, and I was like, that's not bad. There's a movie. Stephen Knight either directed it or wrote it or both. It's called Boiling Point, and it's tremendous. It's a true oneer, so the entire movie is one shot.
Mhm.
It's like an hour and 30 minutes, and it's it's a legitimate one, or there's no tricks. It's really just one camera. Um, and
Interesting.
it's great. It's just, an hour and 30 minutes of this very prestigious restaurant opening up, and the dramas that happen throughout the that time frame during the opening. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Well, you gave some recommendations. I'll give, just like I did last episode, um, a kind of recommendation. Because the only new thing I've really watched recently was The Flash. Um, which, like, look, if you want it, like I said last episode, if you want to see it, great. I'm not telling you you should or shouldn't. It's fine. Um, what they were trying to do wasn't bad.
mhm.
Andy Muschietti's direction, I mean, just like he did on It and It Chapter 2, is great. Ezra's acting is good, especially having to play two separate versions of one character.
Dude,
But of
all right.
course,
It's such a shame because, like, I know Zach and I, Zach, shout out to our buddy Zach, we loved Ezra Miller. We were huge fans, and we would talk about it all the time. We'd be like, dude, we need to talk about Kevin is incredible. This other thing he was in was incredible. Ezra Miller's just got it, And even when he first started doing The Flash, we were like, you know what, that movie's trash, but his part was cool, right? Like he was more fun, right?
yeah,
But now it's like
there's
he's fucking ruined it.
well, that's part of it. There's a video. I'll tag. Hopefully, Future Rain will tag when this goes up. From that YouTube channel, New Rockstars. I think I've showed you, and I think I've talked about it. I'm pretty sure I talked about it. They did the 4 big things of why they think this movie's failing, because it is technically failing. Its opening weekend only grossed $55 million, which is 30 million less than what they were projecting.
Whoops.
So yeah, not too good. But look, it's fine on the whole. It's fine. There are some things that I'm not super cool about. I'm not going to ruin it for someone who does. I'll tell you when we're done recording.
Sure.
Just remind me.
Okay.
But on the whole, it's not the worst superhero movie I've seen, but it's definitely not the greatest that everyone was like, "Oh, it's a great." It's fine. Okay, it is. Even Ashley was like, "Yeah, it was fine." Like, because she was really not looking forward to seeing it at all. But she was like, "It was fine. It wasn't awful." I'm like, then that's a win.
Okay.
But anyways, so Jeremy, before you tell everyone what we're talking about today, since been trying to get better about where they can watch this movie, I want to point out this is one of the rare times I would recommend find the physical copy. I watched this on Prime. It's on Amazon Prime. If you have a Prime subscription, don't watch it on Prime. The quality was fucking awful because I guess they didn't have the remastered version on the Kino Lober, which I know you and I have. So this is the only rare time I'll say buy it physically, because yeah, like there were just so many problems with it streaming. So,
and I would go ahead and just say yes, and spoiler alert, it's because it's good.
oh, you like this one?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yes. I was a little let's just jump in. I was a little wary because of how much I did not like Ministry of Fear, and I was like, "Uh-oh. What if they get worse?" That's not good. But then this one I was like, "Oh, phew.
Thank God.
Thank God, that was good." So yeah, I liked it. Rain, what did you think?
Well, first, what are we talking about?
Oh, sorry. We are talking about Fritz Lang's Scarlet Street.
And I liked it too, buddy. The when when you told me we were going to need to take a break, I had started to watch it.
Mhm.
And of the 15 minutes I'd seen, I was like, okay, this is very interesting. I want to see how this progresses. And it paid off, man. And I know we'll get into it, but it's got those Fritz Lang isms that I know I desperately wanted to see, especially after Fury.
Mhm.
I was like, dude, come on. And then it happened, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When it happened, I was like, oh, yes. Um, so I liked it too, buddy. And
Good.
I guess I will do a quick synopsis so we can just jump right into it.
Please.
So Scarlet Street, 1945, stars Edward G. Robinson, and I don't know her name.
Joan Bennett,
Joan Bennett.
I believe. Oh, we didn't even have
Sure.
that up. What if it's not? Second guessing myself.
I know you're about to check, but
Yeah.
if you're right, Future Rain will let us know. If you're wrong, Future Rain will let us know.
It is Joan Bennett. Nailed it.
Joan Bennett. Okay. Edward G. Robinson, Joan Bennett. Edward G. Robinson plays Christopher Cross. Very interesting name.
Well, it's also those of you who like soft rock from the 70s or yacht rock. Christopher Cross is also a musician. So
yeah. He is this just lonely guy who is kind of stuck in his everyday routine, being a cashier for a bank, stuck in a marriage that he only married out of loneliness, and we already get the feeling that Chris is just sort of a lonely, depressing guy. When he happens to what he thinks is thwarting a mugging, he meets Kitty, or Catherine, but he always calls her Kitty, who is just enamored with him, especially when he mentions that he likes to paint, which he does not correct her when she says, oh, you must be a famous painter. He doesn't correct her because to him, even though the rest of his friends and even his awful wife think it's just a hobby, to him it is a passion. And so hearing, oh, you must be famous, he's like, yeah, I am famous, you know. And he gets embroiled with Kitty and her boyfriend Johnny, who he doesn't know is her boyfriend. He gets embroiled with them, and they start to kind of take him for his money. They think he's famous, so hey, try to convince him to buy you an apartment, Kitty. And then that turns into, well, let's sell his paintings. I bet we could get something out of this. And it just kind of snowballs out of control, where Kitty is getting all the attention for Chris's paintings because Johnny has been saying, like, oh yeah, she's the painter. And it eventually culminates in this very, very quick information dump in the last 20 minutes of, and I'll just spoil it now, Chris kills Kitty, lies on the testifying stand, Johnny goes to jail and gets the chair, but it's not the happy ending that Chris was wanting. And I'm not going to talk more because I wanted to talk about the ending separately, but that's Scarlet Street.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, I had a suspicion you would like this after the bummer of the ending. I was like, oh, fuck, Jeremy's going to like this one. I know.
I did very much.
So
like this one.
Where would you like to begin with this, buddy?
Well, I mean, we can start with Edward G. Robinson. I love his character. It's completely different from the stuff that he's known for at this time. He is known for tough gangster roles. That's it. Full
really?
Stop. This guy is, he was in Little Caesar. He was in, White Heat. I believe it was White Heat. Or maybe that was Cagney. So Edward G. Robinson and James Cagney were like the stars of the gangster films, especially in Warner Brothers, which I know you saw the documentary, so you know a little bit about that. Um, there's also a great documentary called Public Enemy, um, the golden age of gangster films, and that one's so good. Anyway, um, so with him being this little timid, artsy, lonely guy, it was really cool to see Edward G. Robinson really stretch his acting a little bit further than what he was originally doing, which was cool. Um,
Yeah, it seems like during this season in particular, it definitely seems like more Fritz than Tim, but Fritz definitely is grabbing actors that you wouldn't see in these types of roles to really
mhm.
push their boundary as well.
Yeah,
Because I got to say, I was sold
yeah,
that Chris was just this lonely guy uh, who just wanted companionship.
hmm
Like
yeah,
I was sold.
yeah, and this poor guy. So I it starts. Of course, we meet him. He's getting a an award for his 25 years of service at the bank, right? So
Mhm.
we now know that he is a pretty stagnant guy. He just stays in one place for a while, and he's very dependable. He's honest. He's quiet.
Mhm.
Um, and he goes home and he's being tormented by his awful wife, who is still in love with her uh, deceased husband.
Little asterisks on deceased.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit because I didn't like that, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, and his outlet is painting, right?
Mhm.
And I was pleasantly surprised by what the film decided to show in the output of paintings because I was expecting run of the mill, generic, yes, it's good, but it's just fine paintings. But then
Right.
when he's painting the flower, you see it and you're like, oh, whoa, that was cool. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting again just like really good still life, but instead it was this sort of impressionistic sort of
Mhm.
abstract painting, which I loved. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. I think that definitely adds to not only the film but also to Chris as a character, that he's such a lonely guy. His outlet is painting, but he's painting these extravagant paintings
yeah,
of things that are normal. And I love how he
yeah,
explains to his coworker, like, no, like this is how I see the
yeah.
flower.
It's his perception, right? It's how the
Hmm.
flower makes him feel, not how the flower looks, right?
Right.
And so, which I loved, right? And it sort of explains, how he becomes so taken with Catherine immediately because um he's so taken by the this unexpected opportunity, right? And
Hmm.
this change in his mundane existence, right? Because when he meets Catherine and he finds this opportunity to spend time with her and feel as if she might fall in love with him as he has to her, right? This is very exciting for him, right? So it's almost like he's
Hmm.
blinded by the excitement and by I guess by love, which poor guy. Um,
Yeah.
even to where when Kitty admits that she is selling the paintings under her name, he was like, "That's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? No one ever buys them from me, you know."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, it, just poor guy, Um, he's the synopsis that I read in a lot of places said that he's going through a midlife crisis, which I guess is true.
Yeah,
Um,
I get. Yeah, especially with the whole like, I want a pretty lady like that on my arm.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, he finds the opportunity to spend time with a younger woman, and then he just, he seizes it immediately, right? It
Hmm.
doesn't let go no matter what, right? No matter the red flags, no matter what seems suspicious. He's just along for the ride. Again,
Oh yeah.
because it's exciting, because it's different, because it keeps him away from his horrible, awful, nasty wife.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
who
God.
is almost, it's almost comic. She's almost comically mean, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when she finds out that the paintings are being sold. I knew you didn't come up with those. If you ever recreate that woman's paintings, I'll write her a letter. And I'm like, what a
So it
bitch.
reminds me of this whole movie reminded me of the Twilight Zone. In particular, Time Enough at Last, which is episode 8 of season 1. What if that was right? Wouldn't that be amazing? So with Burgess Meredith, it's a very famous one.
Yeah, the
Fe-
one of him just
with
wanting to
his
read.
glasses. Yeah, with him just wanting to read. And so when he's reading and his wife is at home, just laying into him about reading, right?
Hmm.
Which it seems so silly because, that's why would you bother anyone who's trying to read, and why do you care? But, it reminded me a lot of that. Um, it
Hey,
had that,
buddy.
yeah.
It was episode 8.
Oh, nailed it. I love the
But it
Twilight Zone.
reminded you, a lot of that.
It did, and even as the story progressed, and to how it ended was like this. Did Rod Serling write this? No, but
He walks into
with his with his gray jacket and his cigarette, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it reminded me a lot of that. And so those of you who do not know it, go watch it. Um, it's somewhere, but I think it's on Hulu also. So check that out.
Um I think it might be on Paramount Plus because I,
Oh,
I
okay.
know Jordan Peele's version is
All
on
right.
Paramount Plus.
So,
Um
but this brings us to Catherine. Um,
yes, it's on
and
Paramount Plus.
we can do Catherine and Johnny at the same time. Catherine is
Okay.
obviously more important. Johnny is awful, right?
Oh
He's
yeah,
definitely
fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's definitely the instigator. He's also awful to Catherine, right?
Hmm.
So it's like it everyone is punching down. So because um or at least it's like a chain reaction of abuse because Johnny's abusing Catherine, Catherine is abusing um Chris, and Chris is also being abused by his wife. Chris isn't really abusing anybody. Uh
If anyone, he's abusing his boss by wanting to steal money.
sure. But
Yeah.
you see what I mean? It's like this chain reaction of abuse, and it's like the more Catherine gets abused by Johnny, the more she's falling for him, which is so bizarre.
Hmm.
But it is in a lot of cases how domestic violence actually works, which is interesting that this film portrays it in such a realistic way. Um,
Yeah, very very progressive for Fritz.
yeah, but then once honestly, I think she was at first I felt that she was excited for the prospect of, you know, um, being admired, right? She likes that, obviously.
Hmm.
But I don't really think she was going to take that much advantage of him. Not necessarily, right? Maybe for meals every now and then, but that would have been it. It's Johnny who
Yeah.
really instigates the, take him for a ride, you know? uh,
Hmm.
lean into his affection for you and let's see how much we can get out of it, right? Especially when she realizes or when he lies and says that he is well known in the art world, that
Hmm.
it's like cartoon dollar signs popped out of her eyes, right?
Yeah.
um and that's, I think, once she tells Johnny, Johnny just takes that and runs with it. um and I at first it plot elements like this kind of drive me crazy. I get very anxious when there is misinformation as a plot point.
No. Okay.
Um, so people believing she is the one who's painting these is driving me crazy, right? Um, until he finds out about it, of course. Um, but then, of course, that subverted my expectation because I
Mm-hmm.
thought once he would find that out, he would be like, "Well, fuck you, I'm leaving."
Yeah.
Right?
Take all his paintings and
Yeah,
leave.
give me back my paintings. You know, I never want to see you again. But man, that turn where he's just like, "Oh, that's a good idea."
Like, yeah, let's keep doing that. Yeah. Yeah. And especially the fact that Chris paints this gorgeous painting of her,
Yeah.
you know, which I love that the film keeps reminding us that this is her masterpiece,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, in the papers, it's called the masterpiece. When it's finally sold at the end of the movie, the art dealer's like, I never thought I'd let her masterpiece go, and I'm just like damn, like y'all are really just driving it deep
Yeah.
that this one was the best.
Yeah. Even though it wasn't my favorite was the one with the snake. But
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
really
that's
liked that um, that interpretation of sort of like being feeling unsafe. Right, is
mm-hmm.
what I thought. I thought it was awesome. Um, but anyway, so where are we?
So
We're
you're talking about how Johnny's he's he's essentially driving the plot forward
mhm,
because he's the one that tells Catherine, let's take him for
mhm,
whatever we can get out of him.
yeah,
You know, then Johnny thinks that they've lost it when he gets the paintings appraised and their only value is $25.
yeah,
But then once they realize what they could get for him, that's when he starts seeing dollar signs again.
mhm,
But it's almost not enough for him either. Even though Catherine is essentially doing all the legwork for his schemes,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. He's a
and
bad guy.
it's yeah, and fuck, dude. Okay, hang on. Out of all the characters that we've seen in Fritz Lang's movies, I definitely hate
He's definitely the
Johnny.
worst one. Yeah,
Yeah, fuck that guy, dude.
no,
Especially his fucking catchphrase, for cat's sake. Oh god, I fucking hated that, dude. Especially because you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby, where Leo says "old sport,"
like a
and of course,
million fucking
the
times.
yeah, I mean, of course, that was meant to be like because he doesn't know, so it proves how fake he is. But like the fact that Johnny says "for cat's sake" so much, I was just like, oh, please shut up.
um, yeah. So the plot for me comes to a grinding halt um, when his wife's husband just pops up out of nowhere. Now, it is important,
Yeah.
right? It's important we need it because we need we need something for Christopher to get out of his relationship, right? We need something for that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This was so bizarre that the husband ended up not dying during the rescue. He rescued this woman from drowning in the lake or whatever. Or technically he didn't because they both died. But anyway, he jumped in to try to rescue her and then drowned. Right?
Right.
But he's been living on the streets since then. Essentially, probably so he doesn't have to hang out with his wife anymore.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
my god.
that was unclear to me. I didn't know. I couldn't figure out why he faked it. Why he let his death go be legitimate and be a pronounced dead, right? Um,
Yeah.
I wasn't too clear on that. I assumed it was to get rid of his wife. or to not be there. But then he's he's a homeless. He's living on the street. Like, I mean, what's the benefit? Just,
They
you know,
they almost made it seem like he was going into hiding
yeah.
because he owed bookies money or some
Oh,
shit. I don't
yeah.
know.
Maybe I
I
had
don't.
forgotten that. It's been a few days.
I don't know. I would agree. Like that comes out of left field for me too.
Yeah,
Um,
and
because I was just like, wait, what?
right. Yeah. So that was bizarre. You know, he's wearing an eye patch like Fritz. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't really care. But uh I'd be curious to see what the original this is a remake, after all. I'd be
Oh yeah.
curious to see what it's like in the French original. Um but which is a part of the Criterion collection, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yes. I don't know how to
Nice.
pronounce it, so I'm not going to say it. But you can find it on IMDb. Anyway, so I'd be curious to see if that was part of the plot point, because sometimes when adapting a European film,
Mm-hmm.
plot points, motifs, um, um, narrative elements makes sense in a different country and doesn't make sense here, right? Or isn't the norm here, or isn't socially significant here, right? Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Um, so it could be something like that, because it seemed unnecessary, but I don't know. But dude, all right. So once we hit the apex of this film, when Christopher discovers that Catherine and Johnny have been lying to him, and Catherine and Johnny are a couple, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not just friends, right? Or acquaintances, really. And that they have been lying to him, taking him for a ride, taking advantage of him, stealing from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is when I really started leaning forward, because again, Fritz Lang is pushing boundaries and subverting my expectation of what to expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when Christopher takes that fucking ice pick and starts stabbing away, I'm like, we haven't cut yet? This is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And you're hearing the thuds of the ice pick. Awesome. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. It makes me wonder now that you've said that Edward G. Robinson was known for playing a gangster, if
mhm.
Fritz Lang's direction was like, all right, bring some of that gangster out right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. Bring
And he
some of
was
that
like, all
violence
right,
back,
let's go.
that anger and that violence, because again, the way that Christopher is being portrayed throughout this entire film is very meek, very timid, very submissive, very quiet, lonely. But then they just hit him at his breaking point. He can only take so much abuse, right? And
Yeah.
that was sort of the last straw. It's the I cannot believe, I fell for this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's furious, he's angry, he's embarrassed, he's ashamed, and he's just full of rage, right?
Yeah.
And not only because of this, but because of all, probably is what I'm assuming, is all the stuff he's also taken in the past, all that stuff from his wife that he's just been just enduring day after day. It's just ridiculous and it's unnecessary. And Catherine just happened to be the last person to try it, and that's
Yeah. Because, I thought for sure he was going to kill Johnny next.
Mhm.
But he doesn't. I mean, he does, but he doesn't. I thought for sure like Johnny was going to show up and he was going to kill Johnny.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He does it more kind of silently. But it all, what I really liked is up until he goes back to work, it all kind of plays out like the perfect crime.
Mhm.
He kills Catherine, he grabs his shit, Johnny just happened to be coming back from the bar drunk as hell. People overheard him saying that he was going to let Catherine have it. And it all fit like a perfect crime.
Yeah.
And that I thought for sure, well, I mean, he kind of does, but I thought for sure he was going to get away with it. No repercussions on anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of does, right? Legally,
I mean,
legally nothing happens to him, right? And okay,
the worst that happens is okay. You go ahead.
So this is one of the first Fritz Lang thing I really liked was the way he shot the witness stand, right?
Yeah.
Which is just the single shot of the people sitting in the chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. That was very stylized, very Fritz Lang. Of course, the real Fritz Lang stuff comes later, but I loved the way he shot the witness stand, and and again, it's this, you know, people are telling. Technically, everyone is telling the truth except for Christopher, right? Everyone is just telling what they know, right? Christopher is the one that lies and says, my wife is right. I've never really been good at painting. I just copied her stuff. Like I'm not,
I destroyed my work. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was interesting because again, I thought he's gonna confess, right? Like, I mean, he has to. He's not that kind of guy, right?
Yeah. We've already established that Chris, tried to get a bank loan to give Kitty $500.
Yeah. He is a generally a stand-up guy, except of course when he steals the cash out of the vault or out of the safe and gets caught eventually. That's, besides murder, that's like the worst thing he's ever done, right? Up until that point, and then the murder. But what I love after that, of course, is when we get real Fritz Lang, is the guilt eating him alive, right?
Yeah, just so cool.
Yeah,
so cool and creepy too. Like,
yeah.
I was a little worried it was gonna, being a film from 1954, I was like, that's gonna come off a little cheesy. And even with the shitty version on Prime, it was still so creepy. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, the really dark shadows and the voiceover, and and of course Edward G. Robinson's performance is amazing. Really puts you in it, into the guilt, into this. He's just tormented by what he's done and what he's gotten away with. Right, that's the worst part, is that he got away with it.
And can I be honest?
Yeah,
I thought for sure that's where the film was going to end.
Yeah,
I thought for sure we were going to get that silhouette of his legs dangling, and that's where it was going to just end.
So, okay, a couple of things about that. So Fritz Lang, he got lucky. So this is, of course, during Hays Code days. So lots of no-nos. Okay. One of them, of course, being getting away with something. Like, you can't get away with murder. Like, your characters cannot get away with murder. That's crazy. Like, that's not politically correct, right?
That makes anyone think they can do crime.
Code. That's not nice. So the fact that Christopher is tormented for the rest of his life, that's not getting away with it, so they let that go. So the suicide, right? The suicide was not allowed to be successful for it to stay in. Okay. So he had to survive it for it to go in the movie in the first place. So, so that's sort of when, it's my understanding, reading what I read, that, that in order to, okay, so the suicide's in the script. Okay. He has to survive it. Okay, fine. now I have to, well, how do I end the movie because he got away with it? I'm not going to let him, go to jail for it. That's, not, so I think what Fritz had to do was sort of find, or the writer had to find a way to have him still be tormented and haunted for the rest of his life. And that's sort of where, him living on the street, him attempting to confess and then not being believed, right? Which I like that piece of exposition from the cops where he's like, the dude, comes up to us all the time and confesses murder, and we're just like, dude, get out of here. He's a lunatic.
Leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me. It kind of reminds me of the. You're gonna laugh at me, but it makes me. Reminds me of the Looney Tunes skit of the dancing and singing frog. The guy's constantly trying to convince people, and then he gets put in jail because people like just don't believe.
Dumb. A dumb example. It's a relevant, kind of relevant example, but it's dumb.
Especially about the part where they're sleeping in the park.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. Good job. All right. Congratulations. But again, you were right. I don't know if you said it on mic or off mic, but it is. I loved how sad the ending was, and that just that gets me ear to ear.
Well, especially again, we get reminded once again that the self-portrait of Catherine is the masterpiece, especially when the lady's like, well, for $10,000, I'm surprised you didn't say no. And he hears it as he's walking by.
Yeah, so, it's that also it's for the audience to go, wow, he could have been really successful, right?
Yeah.
And not I don't think we're supposed to be like, well, he should have just kept the deal with Cat, because that would have never happened, right?
No.
They were always going to swindle him out of everything. Like that, he wasn't going to have an alliance or a partnership with Catherine. Like, that's not happening.
No, not at all. I thought for sure if he never found out, which I feel like he would have found out, he would have never seen a single cent.
No, absolutely not. And if anything, it's sort of validation for his talent, right? I mean, and it's also like what makes it not a super uplifting validation, right? Because you would think is like, oh, he was actually very good, right? This is a way that his work is being recognized, and again, that validation of I am good at this. Everyone else was wrong, but it's he'll never get to do it again. Like, he'll never pick up a paintbrush again, right? Like, that's not happening. Not only would he probably not want to pick up a paintbrush again, but if he did, he would never get that recognition. He would never be able to present it to anyone, right?
He would probably get accused of copying her work.
Yeah, exactly. So he is, by going along with the narrative that Johnny killed Catherine on the witness stand, he essentially ruined that part of his life forever, right? By admitting on the stand, lying, saying that he never really painted those paintings. He's not a good painter. He just copied her work. That right there sealed the deal. He can never paint again, which is the only thing he had.
Here's a better example for you. I know you'll like this example better. It reminded me a lot of the end of Baby Driver, when John Hamm shoots the gun next to his ears, because music is the one thing that Baby loved, and he already was having hearing problems, so John Hamm took it away.
Yeah.
And to me, it was exactly that. Like, as soon as he lied on the stand, Chris essentially did that to himself.
Yeah.
He buried his love of painting when he lied.
Yeah.
He probably would have gone to jail and gotten the chair. Oh no, he couldn't. I was gonna say that he could have admitted, but I was like, no. Even if he admitted to killing Catherine, there's no way he probably still would have gotten the recognition
Mhm.
that he probably thought that he deserved. So
Yeah.
So ultimately, I think lying, yes, was his undoing, but I think that was his only choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was screwed either way.
I was really surprised by the story. I didn't expect it to go in this direction. I really wasn't sure what to expect. Again, I had never seen it before.
Yeah.
So this one took a really interesting turn, and I really enjoyed it.
So did I, man. You know, it reminded me a lot of Fury, because definitely Fury was a high point for me. Besides him,
of course,
Fury was fantastic. What movie did we do before that again?
Spies. Spies was before.
That's
Fury.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Fury was his first. Well, the first.
I'm sorry. Is that right?
No, Spy. We did Spies before M.
Yeah, so
Fury,
Spies, then it was M, then it was Fury. So I think it was M.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, Fury was Fury was a high point for me for these films, but this one definitely is now up there with M and Fury. Because I agree. I wasn't expecting the story to go like that at all. I thought for sure he was never going to find out. I thought for sure they were going to get away with it. And in a way, I was kind of right about the getting away with it. He technically got away with it.
Yeah.
Even though it may eat at his conscience for the rest of his life. But the only repercussion he faced was just getting fired from his job for taking $1,200.
Yeah.
So. But it was still good. Still great. Yeah. So, Jeremy, is there anything else you'd like to add to the wrap up?
No.
Well, good.
It does make me curious to see Woman in the Window, which is another Edward G. Robinson and Joan Bennett, Fritz Lang film. I think it's after this one. Might have been before it. But it makes me interested to see that. It's probably also very good. But we'll never know on this podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someday. So anyway, so
you don't have
don't
anything to add to the...
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I don't.
Well, good. Neither do I. I think we touched on everything. You know, I think we've said enough times how great the movie was, and definitely was a higher point from Ministry of Fear.
Definitely. Definitely a high point for Ministry of Fear. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, buddy, are you ready to hear what we're talking about next week?
Yes.
So, it's been a while. 2 weeks. But Johnny Depp is back in the lead acting role for my next pick.
Yeah.
Since Big Fish, Helen Bottom Carter, next week we are talking. Hang on, fuck, I had it up and I told myself I was going to forget. Okay, next week we are talking about Tim Burton's 2007 adaptation, Sweeney Todd. I remember seeing the trailer for this and being so excited because it was Johnny Depp in a musical. And that was like, I'm sold. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know how I'm going to get Haley to sit with this one. Cause it's, I don't think it's the blood that's going to bother. It's definitely going to be the music that's going to bother her this time.
Really?
She hates musicals.
What?
Yeah. But okay. So what's funny is, it was last week, I think, my TikTok feed, there was a lot of, Josh Groban, as Sweeney Todd. He's doing it on Broadway right now.
I was about to say, yeah, like I thought I heard something about him playing Sweeney Todd
Yeah.
or some shit.
And I kept getting a lot of clips for that, and I go, "Do you guys know we're doing this later, like in a few weeks? Because like I don't like I don't want to see that." Yeah, I saw it with my dad when it came out in theaters, and we were both surprised because we liked it. At first
Yeah.
we were like, "I don't know, man. Like, let's go," but we may not like it, right? And
And
we're like,
y'all
"Oh,
are
okay."
both like, oh. Well, and and it's got one of your favorite things in it. It's got a bummer of an ending.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's my
not
shit.
a very happy ending. And for those of the listeners, Zach, who've seen the movie, no, it doesn't have a happy ending. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about this one because have we done a musical on the
Yes.
podcast before?
Yeah, we
Which
did that fucking stupid one. What was Phantom of the Opera? We did Phantom of the Opera.
one? Yeah.
And I'm sure we've done one more. Trying to think, but for sure we've done Phantom of the Opera, and that was something.
You make it sound like I made you sit through some sort of like fucking like I Clockwork Orange you or something.
I fucking love Clockwork. Yeah, like pried my eyes open.
Yeah.
It's because I was expecting to like it more, right? Like when I saw it, I was like, people really like this movie. People love the music. People love, whatever, like all this shit. And then I watched it and I was like, not like I guess I'm not like everyone else. Like I'm built different because I didn't like that. But yeah, I don't like, okay, but Sweeney Todd, I was like, okay, that was good. I like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. So over 10 years. So we'll see what I think about it this time.
Well, just to let you know, it's got a certified fresh 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, dude.
I don't give a shit about that, but just means 86% of people gave it a positive review. It doesn't mean it, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we'll see what I think this time. There are songs I like. There are songs I hate. So
okay, I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, definitely songs I hate. That's for sure.
Because and we'll close out with this, but like I love this movie so much, I went and bought the deluxe soundtrack on CD.
Wow.
Because there's two, as there are with most musicals, there's two different versions of the soundtrack. There's more of a streamlined version that hits some of the more, likable songs, and then there's the deluxe that has all of them, like the in-between songs and stuff like that. And so I love this movie so much, I bought the deluxe soundtrack. I don't know what happened to it. I think I sold it back to Not Hastings.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you a tease on which songs I hate.
Okay.
It's Joanna. I fucking hate that
song. You hate
Joanna? I hate it. I hate it so much that I remembered the name of the song. So.
Oh shit. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then here's one final tease and we'll close out. Okay. Not Jamie Bell. Shit. What's his fucking name? Who plays the sailor?
Yeah.
It's
got a goofy face.
Jamie Campbell Bower. This was his first movie. And then, of course, now he went on to be the main villain of your favorite show, Stranger Things.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's a Vec now.
Good for him,
Oh, shit. All right, well, with that, everyone, we hope you enjoyed Scarlet Street, and we'll see you next time, maybe, for Sweeney Todd.